So, hello. Today I am going to be showing you how to make some of these pumpkins. They're like little pillows. They're quite a good size and different faces on a lot of them. So I'd like to show you how to make them and put them together. They're really easy and I hope you keep watching. And I start out with some wool. I like to use wool for these. I have used some other fabrics, but I do feel like this wool is going to work really good for what I'm looking for. I take an old blanket and I simply dyed it. I dyed it with some orange RIT dye, the liquid. I just fill a container full of water, pour the RIT dye in there, and then put some wool in there. Each piece of wool or whatever I use takes on a different look just because of each fabric is different. So this is like what I start out with, just an old wool blanket. It's uneven, but I really like the way it looks like that. And so some pieces are darker, some pieces are lighter. And so then I just cut rectangles out of them. And when I cut the rectangles, I'll show you this one. So this is it was a rectangle, and then I just kind of slice off the corners, and I usually do 2 at a time because I want it to be both the same, the front and the back piece. So I just kind of round off the corner. It doesn't matter if they're exactly the same. I just kind of round them off, okay? And that makes my basis of these. So I just wanted to show you, this one is about 11 inches long and it is about 9 inches wide. So 11 by 9. They are not all that. You could do them smaller, you can do them bigger. It doesn't really matter. It's the technique that I use. This is a little something different. This is was a blue and white coverlet, and it has some little holes. I don't mind that either. So of course this is more square. I will cut off these corners and add a face. So here is another piece. This actually was a pink wool blanket, and when I added that orange, it just gave it this really nice color. Here is, this was a wool blend bathrobe, and because it's that plaid and it's got the red and orange, I think that's going to turn out really good. And then I have, some smaller ones, and notice this is just a completely different orange from the rest, and they just take on their own look, and I like them all. So the next step for me is to take some pieces of other wool, and I have pieces like this, and then I took pieces of the same kind of wool. I took some green, this piece here, this is actually vintage wool felt. I took a piece of this was that pink one that I dyed, and I add some heat and bond to the back of it. And the reason I do that, and you don't have to do the heat and bond, but what I feel like is that I want to take these places, and so I'm going to cut out the face with these, iron them on, and then when I'm sitting outside watching the grandchildren play, or have to go to an event or something and I need to be sitting still, I like to have these attached so I don't have pins with me, and I can just sit there because they've been ironed onto it. They will stay there, and I can go ahead and stitch around them, and I think it looks good. So the next process is taking these, and even this brown one looks good, and I basically will take these, my scissors, and I will cut out long rectangles, and I'm cutting the paper, making sure that I have the paper all cut off, and then I can just peel that and iron it into place. I also will take these, and I don't measure, I just cut some triangles like so, and like so. And I cut a whole bunch of different ones because I like different sizes, I like different shapes, and They don't all have to be perfect triangles. And out of all the different colors, and I have some green ones that I've done. There's another green. There's a long piece here that's more for a mouth. Sometimes I use rectangles for mouths. There is another rectangle. You can also use that for a nose. So what I do is I'll take these, peel the backing off after I've cut this, and then I'll iron it into place, and I'll show you that. Okay, I'm going to start out here with just one of the basic rectangles that I've cut the corners off, and I'm going to iron on a face. Like I said, you don't have to iron on a face. However, I just like to travel with mine, and it's easier than having pins and then worrying about what I'm going to do with the pins. And so, yeah. So what I do is I start out with some of my pieces, and I take a look at all the triangles, and I just randomly start placing them into spots, and then I see what I like. And sometimes I want to do all the same color. Sometimes I want to do something different. I can do a crazy orange nose. And notice when you put the nose up really high, it has a different look. If you put the nose way down, it looks different. And same with these. You could turn them that way. Gives it a different look. Changing that nose. They're all going to be just a smidge different, and I think they all have their place in my designs. I like them all. I put them, I have a space in an antique mall, so I'm going to cut this one off, and then I'm going to do kind of a fatter one. See what I think of that one. Way too long. The nice thing is, when I get it set the way I like it, do I like that? Is it too dark? Maybe we'll go here. Nope, I think I do like that. What about this skinny one for the mouth? I kind of like it. This wool does kind of move around. So then all I do is take these, and once I've set where I want it, this is not going to be permanent. If you were going to just iron this into place and then stick it on something for yourself, you could probably get away with not stitching it, but for me, I'm going to sell these, and so I want to make sure that they're secure. This heat and bond is just to get it so that it sets a little bit, so that when I am traveling around with it in the car, doing whatever, that they don't move. And I don't feel like there's a right or a wrong way for these, because it's kind of up to you, the size you do, and then I'll show you a bunch that I have done. And I do let that cool before I touch it, because this heat and bond is still hot, it will move. Sometimes the hardest part of this is getting these off of here. So there is that one. Making sure that's straight. I hope you get some inspiration before Halloween. That was kind of what this, I have done a bunch of fall stuff in some videos. One of the easiest pumpkins I did my last video, and then I did some other ones, and I think next week I'm going to try to do a bat, and that should be pretty fun for the last one for the fall. I've been thinking about doing a bat for a while, so we shall see how that goes. So once I iron these in place and let it cool, and I'm going to set that to the side and let it cool, I just wanted to show these are all a little different. And there's that one. And notice that it could have gone this way or that way. I really like it, and they're not super stuck, but they're stuck well enough that I feel like that it'll be good. Now this one is all the same color, and on this thicker wool, it's barely stuck, but it still works for me to take them with me when I go somewhere. Anyway, the next step would be to stitch these, and I will show you how I do that. So this is the one that I just ironed on while you watched me. And so what I've done is I've taken, this is heavy duty thread. This is like a quilting thread. It's extra strong upholstery, and it's what I had on hand. You could totally use any kind of embroidery floss, you know, 2 or 3 layers. You can use different colors. I just like the brown. So to show you how I do that, I just doubled this and knotted the end. And so this is just I'm just gonna stitch around it. And I like to make sure I get those corners good. Although they have are stitched a little bit, I mean held a little bit, they're not held a ton. So in fact, this one is a little on the loose side, so I'm going to just take the iron and kind of go over that one more time to make sure that that's going to stay. There. So I don't get too fancy with this stitching. I just kind of go, you know, whipping it around. It's not even, it's just, I'm just taking the threads and pulling them out. I'm not measuring, I'm not doing anything special. I'm just kind of whip stitching it on here, and from the inside then to the outside again, and I just do all the way around them. And this is a great thing to do also while I'm watching television, which I don't watch television. I have a little boy in my house that's 4, and he's here with me all the time, so I don't watch a lot of television. But anyway, so that is how I do it. I hope you can see that pretty good. I want to show you some other ones that I have done. This was on the bathrobe, and I think it turned out really cool. This one, I still have to do its eye, but these are all the same color wool. Using that, it really did good. This one's a little different because I kind of did a half circle. I still have a little bit more to stitch here, but I get going one place or another and then run out of thread. So anyway, I kind of did a half circle, but instead of going straight across, I kind of curved it down and then pulled out those little rectangles, and it turned out really cute for a smile. So the next step, I'm going to put the back on here, stitch around it, stuff them, and turn them, then stuff them, and I'll show you that part. So just hang on just a second. So I just thought of something. If you were not into hand stitching, you could do a zigzag on your sewing machine, and you could do that. Let's see, let me think. I'm going to just try one, see what it looks like, and you can be the judge of whether that's something that you want to do. So I've set it on a 2.5 inch stitch length, so it's not going to be too close together, but I'm doing it as wide as I can, so as wide as my machine will do it. So we'll see how that looks. And it's very rustic, but I don't think I hate it. And then you can be the judge. Okay. Alright, I don't hate it. It would be quick and easy. What I did is I chose to use this like orangey kind of thread in here, thinking that that would work. And cut that off, and I'm gonna try to show you up close. I don't think that looks too bad. So I hope you can see the stitching there. Anyway, I think it would work if you were in a hurry, and this one I'll probably continue like this, and then I will put the two pieces together and show you how that works. All right, so now I have this one here, and I'm doing right sides together, and I am going to do kind of a space up at the top so I can stuff it. So I'm going to go around, and then I'm going to stop, and then this I'll close with some glue when I put a stem in. But just so you know, this is the back of the stitching, and then I just stuck knots in it when I was done. So I'm going to stitch around this, and I'll turn this and show you this and show you how I stuff it. Okay, so I've stitched all the way around, leaving a big spot open here, and all I did is stitched around and make sure I back stitched, and then I am going to turn this and then stuff it. These are going to be more flat like a pillow, and they will look good sitting on your sofa if you felt like it. I think you could decorate with these, put them in a chair for Halloween. I don't know, I just think they're really cute. So notice the front and the back are not the same. It doesn't bother me. You know, some people would want to do it exactly the same. Some people would not mind, and I don't mind that it's not the same. I had these in my space last year, and I did really well with them. I think I never put a lot of my crafted things. For as long as it took me, I think I charged $15 for these. Not that that's a big deal. I've seen where people charge a whole lot more for their crafty things, and I don't know, maybe it's because I'm old school and I'm used to not getting much. But anyway, I enjoy doing it, so that's part of it. I think they add something to my space. So, but if you're going to do this for home, it really doesn't matter. It's how much it would cost, because you're doing it for love, not money. And you know, some of these I do keep at home. So anyway, my hot glue is heating up, and I'm stuffing this guy, and you could totally stitch this shut with your hands, but I've gotten pretty good with a glue gun through the years, especially when this fabric is so nice and thick. And I want him to be nice and full. Okay, and then here I'm going to just make sure that they're tucked in, and then I'm going to take a piece of green wool. This is just a piece, it doesn't have anything on it, and I'm just going to roll. I'm going to see if I like how long that's going to be. Nope, I don't. I think I want it this way. So I think I'm going to grab another piece of wool. Got it. So I wanted it to be a little longer, but not too long. So I'm thinking like that long. And every time I get up and down, this chair squeaks. It's so crazy. But this is my life. Anyway, I'm going to roll that till I like how thick it is, and I kind of do like how thick that is. I am going to cut that off and take the trusty glue gun. I'm just going to glue a little bit in there, close it up. I don't want that glue too close to the edge because I don't want it to show, and let it stay there. Now this is tricky. If you've never done this before, you might want to just be careful the first couple of times. And I get that flat, And what I'm doing is holding the seam so it's holding shut, and it's not holding shut all the way, so I'm going to do it halfway. And I'm just going to stick the glue in like this, but I need to get it past where I want that stem to be. So when I put the stem in here, in, stem, go in like that, and then I'm going to pinch this closed and just hold it. Now the other side is not quite done yet, but I think I like it. And what happens is it only glues those two middle pieces for the most part. I might have to go back and glue some more, but I'm going to go ahead and stick the glue gun in this side. And there's that thing. There we go. And I'm just going to pinch that shut without burning myself. Every once in a while, I get a piece of glue that pops out, and then I'll just snip it off with the scissors. There's also a piece of stuffing that's up there that I didn't want, so I did that. I like that. Now I'm going to have to go back and do this one just a little bit better. I feel like it's not quite as good as I want it. But I've gotten pretty good at gluing these. And I can also do a pumpkin leaf if I want. Might be a little long. I might have to cut that down a little bit. And then if I want a pumpkin leaf, I just simply make a heart. And like so. And it doesn't have to be a perfect heart. And then I kind of squiggle the edge. I've done this for a lot of my videos, and I just think it looks like a cool little heart. But and then I kind of can go like that, and I can add that in there if I feel like it. I'm not sure if I want that in there or not. I'm gonna glue this one in half like so, just to give it a little body and see what it looks like. Sometimes when I'm making stuff, I'm just winging it because I'm not even sure exactly how I want it. And then I'm going to add just a little there. Hold that. And then I think that could work. So then I'm going to just take some glue and stick it here. And then I'm going to put this right like that. And there is that one. I think it looks so cute. I'm very happy with that one. So I'm going to finish the rest of them, and I will show you how they all turned out. So here are the finished pumpkins, and I think they all turned out really cute. There's that one. There is that one. And there is this guy. And there is this one. Now, the only thing I did different on this one is I made a spiral so that it could hang down. So you can almost see how it was a circle. And I just kept cutting around and round and round in circle. And then I just let it hang down. It almost looks like he's got hair. And, oh, goodness. Trying to hold on to him and film at the same time. So this is the one that I did the sewing machine stitches on, and I think it's really looks good. I might try a few more of these because it definitely was a little quicker, and yeah, and I think it still looks great. So I hope you enjoyed these, and I hope you'll make some, and I would even love it if you shared how you made them and what you made them out of. So anyway, thank you so much for watching.